What's up? Uh, Growing up, I wasn't very popular in school. I wasn't even average. I was a dorky little gremlin that thought The Matrix was the coolest thing ever, and that Ridley Scott was a genius. I still believe he's a genius, but that's besides the point. My teenage self was disgusting and obnoxious. After graduation, I vowed to cleanse myself of those traits while retaining more favorable ones, like a normal person. This process included the usual teen movie montage, new clothes, flattering haircut, and superhuman levels of terminating blemishes. Eventually, pimples just stopped showing up on my face because they knew they would be dead on arrival. Yes, I was on my way to becoming a respectable citizen. There was just one little thing. I was still a virgin. I believed that sex would be given once I arrived at college with, horny girls lining up to bone this geek turned Abercrombie. 2.5 years went by, and this bone was still thoroughly dry. Despite the fact that I changed my look and made new friends, college was not the orgy American Pie had led me to believe. American Pie was about high school. Just throwing that out there. Don't get me wrong, I still got some action, long makeout sections, and plenty of groping. But I could never manage to make it to home base. However, luck granted me an opportunity. And that opportunity came in the form of Jocelyn. She was mixed Hispanic with raven black hair, big plush lips, and very well endowed. I noticed her on campus before and bore witness to her rejecting many a male, mostly frat bros and business majors. She could not be bought and was not impressed by alpha males. We officially met in primatology class. Till this day, I still don't really know why she chose to sit next to me, but I'm pretty sure it was because I was the only guy in class who did not attempt to flirt with her. She originally sat one row in front of me, but decided to move when the running back kept making passes at her and every other girl in the class. While we were waiting for our instructor, she noticed a blog I was reading about how The Lord of the Rings was almost directed by Stanley Kubrick, with the Beatles starring as the Hobbits. Can you imagine John Lennon as Frodo and Paul McCartney as Sam? She said in a baiting manner. Normally, I wouldn't allow myself to even bat an eye with such ravishing beauty, but the fact that she was a fellow geek in model's clothing made this way too tempting not to test fate. Well, you never know. Stanley Kubrick was a brilliant director, I said with an open mind. Then again, he did say it was unfilmable, so it just goes to show how much faith he would have had in the whole thing if he was forced to direct it. She raised her right eyebrow in curiosity. She reached over and grabbed my laptop, not only to have my undivided attention, but also to cut off whatever lifeline the internet was providing me. Riddle me this. What does bingo mean to you? And I'm not referring to the song or the game, she said, as her leering eyes gave her the demeanor of a big cat. She was ready to chew me up and spit me back out if I slipped up. I chose my words carefully. Luckily, I just happened to know the answer. Bingo Baggins, I said. Both Frodo and Aragorn's original name because they were the same character in Tolkien's first draft of The Lord of the Rings. It's good. I cannot appreciate that. I'm glad y'all can. If only I was holding a mic at the time, because I would have totally dropped that shit. Her smirk turned to a grin. She asked me if I wanted to grab some coffee after class. Nailed it. Finally, after all those years, a girl I liked was able to talk to me about nerd stuff. It was so refreshing. A lot of girls on campus just weren't so into sci-fi fantasy. Whatever interest they may have had for me quickly evaporated the minute I let my guard down and began going on and on about how Return of the Jedi killed the Star Wars franchise before The Phantom Menace. Not Jocelyn, We would have lengthy discussions and debates over things like anime, comic book movies, and plenty of other dorky things no one seemed to care about or even understand. To anyone around us who might as well have been speaking Klingon, which she was able to speak fluently, by the way. We were dating for almost 2 weeks, and the relationship was just getting better. That's when she wanted to hang out at my place for the first time. She lived in a strictly girls-only dorm, and I resided in a small apartment just off campus. She said she wanted to have some quality time, just the two of us alone. Was this it? Were we going to do the deed? I could not allow myself to fuck this up. All precautions were taken. I scrambled around the apartment at an unprecedented speed, picking up dirty laundry, cleaning up every corner, organizing every tchotchke, and throwing away every, I have to look up that word, and throwing away every used tissue, effectively turning, do y'all know what that means, tchotchke? I don't know what that means. Organizing every tchotchke and throwing away every used tissue, effectively turning my hipster flophouse into a suave bachelor pad. I made sure I was thoroughly showered, and shaved. Nothing was about to stop me from releasing the Kraken. Everything was perfect. All that was missing was the dame. And as if destiny itself heard my thought, Jocelyn came knocking at the door with some takeout. After dinner, she jokingly asked if I wanted to Netflix and chill. I agreed, secretly hoping she was serious. She proceeded to pull up Conan the Destroyer on the PS3. Like I said, fellow geek, I think I'm in love. We watched a hulked-out Schwarzenegger slaying Dagoth, sitting very close and comfortable, holding each other, our fingers intertwined and blended like cream and caramel. As if magnetized, we both moved in for a kiss. Making out, the passion grew more intense, and she started to unbutton her top. Her hands were wandering under her shirt. She then grabbed my shoulders, sat me up, and got on top. I always wanted a woman on top. She removed her shirt, and when she reached back to unfasten her bra, I sensed something was off, like that feeling that something should not be where it is. My gaze was focused on her bosom, but I just could not shake it. I fixed my eyes on her face, wondering if I should ask her if she felt the same, and that's when I saw it. A large, solitary, white-capped mountain of pimple planted on her chin. My hands froze. My erection lost its pulse and began to deflate. That's what it says. How the hell did that zit get there? Her cover-up must have done a fantastic job because this thing looked like the hellspawn out of Mount Fuji and Kilimanjaro. Somehow in our foreplay, we must have smudged her makeup off, freeing this ungodly pustule from its cosmetic prison. A sudden instinctual urge came over me. Yeah. I feel the same way. Genes stored away for eons were now awakened. A primitive urge to groom my partner like my ape ancestors had done before me. They removed foreign bodies from each other then, and I was going to do the same. My right hand slithered away from Jocelyn's hip and coiled itself in position to strike. What the hell was I doing? I was about to get laid. Was I really entertaining the thought of this? I've been rid of my own acne for some time, but my OCD apparently had stuck around. Geek or not, if I did this, she would think I was a freak. Everything was going so well. This could not be happening. While I was in the throes of my own idiotic dilemma, they decided to show themselves. Jocelyn had finished unfastening her bra. The lace lingerie lined her cleavage like curtains beginning to unveil the grand spectacle. The plush silk undergarment gave way to the most spectacular set of breasts that would make a porn star green with envy. They look like 2 giant scoops of butterscotch ice cream, each topped with a Hershey's Kiss. I could feel my eyes dilating. Okay. My once dead Johnson now had a pulse and came back like Lazarus, ready to plow some fertile soil. Her breasts were hypnotic, with each pupil honing in on each nipple. My lips pursed, and a cosmic force was pulling my head towards them. This was it. I was going to Pound Town. But then I heard voices. The pull stopped. There was a power that dared to challenge that of the almighty Mammaries. Like the one ring to rule them all, the pimple would not be ignored. Its rim was a fiery red and its center white hot. It beckoned me, pleading that I abandon my lustful avarice and release it. I sat there dumbfounded, stuck in a valley between 2 impulses. A bead of sweat ran down my temple. What was I to do? If I gave in to sex, then the zit would taunt me. I don't even think it would let me keep a stiff one, let alone an orgasm. If I gave in to the zit, then surely sex would be out of the question. I had been in a sexual desert, and I was currently at the shore of an oasis. If I popped that pimple, I might as well have been pissing in the well. My mind was in gridlock, and inner motives were divided. My left hand stayed true to the flesh and made its way down south. My right hand lay in wait like a rattler ready to strike. My left hand crawled its way into her jeans, using her thong as a guide rope that inched closer to her buns. The sensation of this caused her to thrust, creating a warm pulse that sent a tremor through my body. My penis was now ravenous and trying to fight its way out of my pants like a weasel ready to chase a rabbit down its hole. The zit was furious and became inflamed, tugging on my dark desires. Almost as if the zit had taken possession of its host, Jocelyn's head reared back, presenting the most optimal position for popping a serious cyst. The boobs were now parted, no longer standing as monumental an obstacle as before. The pimple had made its move. Our genitalia were still separated by a no man's land of denim and brass zippers, and as far as I knew, they would remain that way if I slipped up now. For God's sake, don't you do it, you fool, my inner voice screamed. Having a weak mind of its own, my hand twitched, and just like that, it sprang into action on pure instinct, and a lightning bolt struck the zit. My thumb and index finger clamped down like a lobster claw from the abyss and pinched the ever-loving shit out of that zit. That is when, in an act of defiance, the zit betrayed me. Like a Napoleonic cannon, it directed its sights towards me, and the thin skin that held the vile concoction at bay now ruptured. I had no time to react. The missile of pus shot me in the eye. Yeah. It used me. This festering wad of discharge had seduced me into releasing it from its fleshy vessel only to invade my body, which until that moment had been untaunted by my carnal acts. I screamed as my hands scrambled for my face. Reacting to both the popping and the howling, Jocelyn looked at me in a most what-the-fuck manner. She jumped up, wasting no time. I bolted for the bathroom to rinse this pestilence from my eye. Oh my God, I thought, what have I done? I had one job, now I'm gonna be a virgin forever. And because I couldn't ignore a goddamn pimple, I stood slumped over the sink, contemplating the ramifications as I removed the vile pus from my eye. I know. The little gremlin locked deep inside me rattled in its cage, knowing full well that it was going to be put down. So at the end, there's epilogue here. So epilogue. Time goes by. That's how those work. I find out sometime later that Jocelyn was a stronger woman than I thought. She didn't like being controlled or told what to do, which are some of the reasons why she chose to date me and not some meathead. Talk about the meek shall inherit. I'd like to say that we lived happily ever after, but I'm not a fortune teller and cannot predict such things. Sure, we are happy now, but relationships have a habit of changing over time, and I've learned from experience never to make any assumptions about one's future, including your own. All I can say is that you know you found someone special if you can do something really embarrassing and still manage to get it on. Thank you.